Imagine a drama that has lasted 21 years. Start the season strong, build hope in January, stumble in February, collapse by March, and by April, wave the white flag. A journey littered with injury crises and invisible walls. A series so predictable, its seasons blur together. Yet the finale? Somehow worse than Game of Thrones. The Premier League trophy hasn't touched down over Emirates skies in over 2 decades. But this cursed cycle has never looked closer to breaking. One by one, the missing pieces have fallen into place. Arsenal, the team forever defined by almost, may have finally delivered the finishing touches to a project that's been patiently built for years. They're complete, they're ready, even for injuries. This time they've left nothing to chance.
How big's the job for you at Arsenal? How much have you now realised you want to do?
We still have a massive gap to fill in. We have to improve in many departments a lot. We have to respect the process.
The motto that defined Arsenal's past 5 years, the process, became the symbol of a transformation launched under Mikel Arteta. But the phrase itself was born not in North London, but across the Atlantic. It originated from NBA team Philadelphia 76ers and their rebuilding strategy between 2013 and 2016. General manager Sam Hinkie summed it up simply, "We suffer now to win later." And with that came a slogan, "Trust the process." When the process crossed over to England, it took on new meaning. At the Emirates, it wasn't just a slogan waved on hopeful banners, it became a code. Sometimes for patience, belief, and long-term investment. Sometimes for exhaustion, stagnation, and dreams delayed yet another year. Arsenal fans, ever self-aware, even made jokes about it. Because hope and heartbreak, well, they often wear the same scarf. Interestingly, Stan Kroenke, the man who owns Arsenal, also owns the Denver Nuggets. In 2023, the Nuggets were crowned NBA champions after carefully building around 3-time MVP Nikola Jokic. That process paid off. Arsenal's still underway, or so it seemed, but perhaps we're nearing the end. Perhaps, finally, the result is taking shape. When Mikel Arteta first took charge, he carried the weight of expectation. A young coach stepping up from Guardiola's shadow, accused of copying the master rather than creating his own masterpiece. And to be fair, the criticism wasn't entirely unjust. From Zinchenko to Gabriel Jesus, even Raheem Sterling, Arsenal became a landing spot for ex-City players. Arteta leaned on inverted fullbacks, false nines, positional rotations, the very tools Pep perfected. There's no shame in being influenced by the best, but Arsenal often looked like a lesser replica, always chasing, always almost there, yet never quite arriving. One invisible wall they kept crashing into? Injuries. It's hard to say where it began, but some Arsenal fans point to April 2006, when Dan Smith of Sunderland broke Abu Diaby's leg, as the day the curse began. Since then, Wilshere, Rosicky, Ramsey, Cazorla, even today's names like Havertz and Gabriel Jesus. Arsenal's injury list has been as consistent as its lack of silverware. Those medical reports, they read like obituaries for what could have been. Many players with sky-high potential couldn't outrun the curse, just like Tierney and Tomiyasu, who left this summer. But maybe, just maybe, this transfer window signals something different. Enter Andrea Berta. After 12 years with Atletico Madrid, he took over as Arsenal's new sporting director this March. And this summer, his decisions showed more than tactical acumen. He brought in players with durable histories, minimal injuries. Madueke aside, Arsenal's new signings arrive with clean bills of health. For the first time in years, the squad looks deep, robust, and ready for the physical war that is the Premier League, with 4 competitions to fight for. Perhaps now is the moment for Arteta to stop borrowing Pep's notes and start writing his own playbook. 6 years in, Arteta's only silverware is 1 FA Cup and 2 Community Shields. Still, the board, and much of the fan base, continue to back him. He's carried the burden of this journey, and if Arsenal are to win something meaningful, it feels written in the stars that it happens under his watch. Let's give credit where it's due. The identity, the grit, the ambition. Arteta built this. His connection with young players, his patience with development, the passion he shows on the touchline, he's more than just a tactician. Like Wenger, he sees the big picture. Like Guardiola, he obsesses over the details. But more than anything, he wants to carve his own path. After 3 consecutive seasons finishing second, Arsenal finally feel complete. There are no glaring holes anymore. With Viktor Gyökeres joining the squad, this team has everything it needs. For the first time in over 2 decades, they might just be the favourites to win it all. So let's take a closer look at the transfers Arsenal made this summer and what they tell us about how close the process truly is to completion. Ever since the departures of Aubameyang and Lacazette, one chant has echoed through the Arsenal fanbase: a true number 9. For years, the club survived on false nines, rotated strikers, or by shifting the goal-scoring burden to wide players. Experiments like Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz didn't bring the desired consistency. Eddie Nketiah gave his all, but it simply wasn't enough at this level. But now, that long search might finally be over, because Arsenal have found what they've been missing all along: Viktor Gyökeres. Last season, Gyökeres topped the list of the most prolific scorers across Europe's top leagues. The Swedish goal machine signals a shift in style. Arsenal finally have a striker who can bully defenders physically, receive the ball with his back to goal, threaten with dribbles, and finish clinically inside the box. In the 2024-25 season, Gyökeres scored 54 goals in 52 appearances for Sporting. Over the past 4 years, no one in his leagues carried the ball into the box more than him. It's been a long time since Arsenal had a striker with such a killer instinct at the Emirates. And by taking the club's iconic number 14 shirt, Gyökeres has made it clear he's here to take on the legacy. As with every major change, this partnership will take time to mature. Arsenal is a team that likes to keep the ball on the ground and build with patience. Gyökeres, meanwhile, is direct, explosive in his movements, and always looking to attack space. That balance will be crucial, and Mikel Arteta confirmed as much after the pre-season match against Villarreal. He's only been with us for a week, but you can already see the way he uses space. It's special. With Gyökeres, Arsenal can now attack the box faster, harder, and with more threat than ever. They can not only reach that final third, but stay there, sustain pressure, and force errors. He's not just a goal scorer, he's a chaos engine. His movement drags defenders, his pressing sets the tone, and his presence creates room for others. Viktor Gyökeres might not just be the signing of the season, he might be the final piece of the process. From the Basque Academy of Real Sociedad to 5 straight seasons in their first team, Martin Zubimendi has developed a game that's calm, understated, and crucial. He's not about flashy passes or highlight reels, but if you care about how cleanly and intelligently a team moves the ball, he's everything. And for Arsenal, who needed a partner for Declan Rice, he was the ideal answer. With Thomas Partey slowing down due to age and Jorginho visibly losing pace, this midfield needed an upgrade. Arsenal spent €70 million on Zubimendi and got someone faster than the Brazilian and more technical than Partey. In essence, a hybrid of both. Last season, he was Sociedad's most involved player in possession. Only John Aramburu bettered his combined tackles and interceptions. And when it came to loose ball recoveries, he was top of the charts. He's the very definition of a complete midfielder. In the Euro 2024 final against England, Zubimendi came on to replace an injured Rodri, and the post-match consensus was unanimous. Martin made sure we never missed him. Scouts describe him as a carpenter. Not flashy, not loud, but meticulous and effective. With him, Arteta's side can evolve from physical chaos to refined structure. And Zubimendi is here not just to fit in, but to orchestrate. Arsenal had to fend off interest from giants like Real Madrid and Manchester City to bring him in. Then there's Cristhian Nørgaard. For the past 6 years, he's been Brentford's captain and midfield engine, leading one of the most tactically intelligent teams in the Premier League. At 30, the Danish midfielder won't steal headlines or flood highlight reels, but he could become one of Arsenal's most important pillars this season. He knows the league's pace, thrives on physical duels, and reads the game brilliantly. One of the best in England at intercepting passes. A disciplined, unselfish midfielder with sharp instincts and no ego. He can play alongside Zubimendi, or step in when needed. But more than that, Nørgaard brings something rare: maturity. With Nørgaard, Rice and Zubimendi forming the elite core, he's the experienced presence that keeps things steady, mentors the younger players, and gives the stars room to breathe. This Arsenal midfield is no longer just about technical ability. It's about intelligence, balance, and leadership. At this level, Kepa is one of the best backup goalkeepers you can have, and this season he'll be right behind David Raya at Arsenal. For a club competing in the Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup and EFL Cup, having a reliable second-choice goalkeeper can be as vital as any star signing. And here's the part that really stands out. Kepa is renowned for his penalty-saving ability. In recent years, this has become almost a specialist role within goalkeeping. David Raya has a career penalty save rate of 13%, Kepa 24%. In high-stakes knockout games, that difference could be the margin between heartbreak and glory. For years now, Arsenal's right flank has belonged to one man, Bukayo Saka, and he has carried that responsibility with everything he's got, leading attacks, pushing through exhaustion, playing through pain. But the toll is showing. To protect Saka from becoming another star dimmed by overuse, it was clear that Arsenal needed more than just cover. They needed real competition. And that's exactly what they've brought in, Noni Madueke. Last season, academy talent Ethan Nwaneri stepped up during Saka's absence and impressed. But Nwaneri's natural position is more central, just behind the striker. Madueke, meanwhile, is a pure winger. While he never truly broke out at Chelsea, his talent has been well known since his youth days. What sets him apart is his directness. When the ball hits his feet, there's only one thing on his mind: go for goal. He's quick, agile and fearless in one-on-one situations. In a side like Arsenal, which at times can play with surgical precision and rigid structure, Madueke offers something else entirely: controlled chaos. That unpredictability, injected at the right moments, can unlock games where patterns fail. Clearly, Arsenal have learned from the burden Saka has carried season after season. The only real question mark here is Madueke's injury history. But in a transfer window defined by calculated moves, this was the one high-risk, high-reward gamble Arsenal were willing to make. Madueke's ability to operate on the left wing as well gives Arteta added flexibility. He's not just an option to give Saka a breather. He can also fill in for Martinelli or Trossard when needed, offering a left-footed, wide attacker profile that adds variation to Arsenal's front line. In a season where depth and rotation will be key, Noni Madueke might just be the chaos Arsenal need to protect their star and to break the system when the system stalls. Arsenal's newest defensive addition, 21-year-old Cristhian Mosquera, arrives from Valencia with a profile that demands attention. Standing at 6'3" with an athletic frame, the Colombian-born Spanish centre-back has already logged over 2 full seasons of first-team football in La Liga. Despite his age, he's physically and technically ready for the demands of top-level football. In Mikel Arteta's system, centre-backs are expected to do far more than just defend. They must be composed in possession, capable of building from the back, and sometimes even push wide to function like auxiliary fullbacks. Mosquera fits that blueprint. He's confident on the ball, posts strong passing numbers, and remains calm under pressure when bringing the ball out of defence. This signing is as much about depth as it is about development. With William Saliba and Gabriel carrying heavy workloads in recent seasons, Mosquera offers a reliable rotation option to ease the burden. Strategically, it's a smart move, especially with Arsenal competing on multiple fronts. What makes Mosquera even more valuable is his versatility. He can also operate at right-back, a position where Arteta has often preferred centre-backs with strong defensive instincts. While he still has occasional lapses in concentration, his tactical IQ and individual discipline are highly coachable. Mosquera isn't just a signing for the present, he's a long-term investment in Arsenal's defensive evolution. Arsenal is no longer just a team defined by its starting 11. It's now a squad built on flexibility, resilience, and depth, perhaps even deeper than necessary. And that, in itself, is proof that Mikel Arteta has moved beyond simply mimicking Pep Guardiola. Pep favours tight, compact squads, but an Arsenal manager can't afford to assume everything will go according to plan. History has taught them otherwise. As the fans often joke, an Arsenal player who doesn't get injured is a mythical creature that exists only in fairy tales. Let's start from the back. David Raya was one of Arsenal's most consistent performers last season. Safe under pressure, strong in aerials, excellent with his feet. Now, he's got Kepa as backup, a trusted second-choice keeper with serious pedigree. In fact, among goalkeepers who played at least 30 games in the Premier League last season, 2 of the 4 with the fewest goals conceded now wear Arsenal colours. In central defence, Saliba and Gabriel form arguably the strongest, most synchronised pairing in the league. Only Van Dijk and Konate can truly rival them. Behind them, the club now boasts clear-cut left and right-footed alternatives in Jakub Kiwior and Cristhian Mosquera. At left-back, Arsenal have three different names offering two distinct styles. Riccardo Calafiori plays like a traditional fullback, bombing down the flank and stretching the pitch, but he can also tuck into a back three. Miles Lewis Skelly and Alexander Zinchenko, meanwhile, bring a more modern, inverted role, stepping into midfield and connecting the lines. On the right, Ben White remains a model of consistency, while Jurrien Timber adds both grit and technical finesse, enhancing Arteta's tactical toolbox. Mosquera can fill in at right-back, Kiwior on the left, and Calafiori, White and Timber are all comfortable at centre-back. Arsenal's defensive depth is, quite literally, layered in every direction. In midfield, the Rice-Zubimendi duo promises to be one of the most balanced and intelligent pivots in Europe. And right in front of them, Odegaard, Arsenal's creative brain, their most refined problem solver for years now. The rotation options are just as impressive. Mikel Merino, Christian Nørgaard, and Ethan Nwaneri, each tested, reliable and tactically astute. But the attack is where things get truly fascinating. Saka on the right, Martinelli on the left, Gyökeres up top. But nothing is rigid. Madueke can play on either wing. Havertz can be deployed as a false nine, a winger, or even a midfielder. Trossard is a universal plug-in across the front line. This is no longer a forward line built on fixed positions. It's about roles, combinations, and tactical fluidity. And should he return to full fitness, Gabriel Jesus offers an elite backup presence, perhaps the most overqualified bench option in the league. And we haven't even mentioned players like Lokonga, Rice Nelson, or Fabio Vieira, whose exits seem imminent. Bottom line, in nearly every position, Arsenal now have two, sometimes three, top-tier options. And outside of Nørgaard and Kepa, not a single player in this squad is over 30. It's a young, dynamic and still evolving group. And then there's the whisper. Rodrigo, reportedly on the verge of leaving Real Madrid, could be the cherry on top of this already well-baked cake. It wouldn't be easy, and certainly not cheap, but the idea alone is enough to make fans dream bigger. Rodrigo or not, one thing is clear. The process is no longer waiting to be completed. It's done. Arsenal is now a full-fledged title contender, ready, equipped and fearless. No more patience required, no more excuses allowed. It's been a long road, sometimes frustrating, often exhausting, but now they've reached the harvest. And how rich it will be, only time will tell.